Well, good afternoon, financial professionals. My name is Jennifer Nadeau, case designer here at E4 Insurance Services, welcoming you to the Brew, building relationships every week. Thanks for tuning in today. For those of you joining the Brew for the first time, we like to start off the BREWcast by celebrating what today's National Day is. And today is National Georgia Day. I still believe it's peach season in Georgia. I think that goes till mid-August. And in the same theme, as far as fruit goes anyway, it's National Watermelon Day. And I think I have one on my kitchen counter ready to be cut up. Today, we welcome Dave Soczek, Vice President of National Benefits Group. Today, Dave will discuss National Benefits Group's Supplemental Employee Benefit Plan. This aims to recruit, reward, and retain employees who are or will be a key to the success of a business. And Dave will definitely be answering questions like, why do employers establish them? Who can they be established for? And how flexible they are, amongst some other questions as well. As a reminder, please feel free to use the chat box to share your thoughts or ask questions throughout the BREWcast today. And all attendees are in a drawing for a prize, which we will announce the winner at the end of the call. So Dave, thank you so much. Very excited to have you on the Brew today.
Jennifer, thank you very much. And I appreciate everyone at E4 welcoming in and letting you speak to everyone involved. Figured since we've got such a short time with each other in that time, I'd probably just jump right in if that's okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. Why don't we start off with what you have up on the screen here, and that is, who is National Benefits Group?
Yeah, we are a firm that works in tandem with insurance professionals throughout the United States to assist them with their clients and their prospects in specific forms of advanced life insurance sales, such as non-qualified plans and executive benefits, or in this case, supplemental benefit plans. Our business, we've been doing it since the mid-60s. My business partner is in his mid-80s. He was one of the originators of the unique products that fit into this market space, as well as some of the plans themselves. So we've done a world of different types of programs, everything from working from small family businesses to Fortune 500 companies. What we found at the end of the day is what everyone's looking for is exactly the same, whether it's big, small, or micro-sized businesses. They're looking to do what Jennifer alluded to, is to recruit, reward, and really retain their key employees. And what our role is to educate you, help you, and actually be your back office to do so. So that's what our purpose is. And with that, I'll kind of go into some basic programs, if that's appropriate.
Yeah, that sounds great. Why don't we start with Dave, now that you are going to transition into supplemental employee benefit plans. Why do employers establish them to begin with?
Mainly, like any time a corporation establishes such plans, is there's an issue, a problem, not a negative problem, with their current benefit program, such as a 401k, a group life or a group plan, maybe some retirement programs that they might have. Maybe there's some special things they want to be able to do. So really what our programs do is bring parity. So if you think about it, if you're in the 401k business and you have individuals that are failing the discrimination testing, meaning they can't put in what they want to put into a plan, the programs we're going to talk about, the non-qualified plans, can allow that individual to be able to put in and get back to the level they could in the qualified plan. The same thing also goes for, say, group life insurance. Group life insurance is great. Many employers provide $50,000 or so of coverage to all employees. Well, that's perfectly fine. But at the end of the day, if you have someone earning $500,000 or $250,000, that $50,000 benefit doesn't have the same type of desire or oomph to it as it would for all employees. So what we try to do is to bring parity back in line between basically the average employee and the executives at the organization. So essentially all plans are, because the other plans are just limited. And unfortunately, they're always limited to the key employee. So to be able to retain that key employee, he or she is looking for something that's more appropriate for them.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And that does bring up another question in my mind. And I know it's something that you're going to address today. Sure. And that is, who can they be established for? I know that with different types of plans, there's stipulations surrounding how many employees these need to be offered to and such. So if you could speak to that, that would be fantastic.
Sure. I'm just going to kind of move to the next slide and talk about some different types of plans. So when we're talking about typically executive benefits, the mindset is that they are strictly for executives. Take the plan that's on the right, deferred compensation. That is to be really limited to those that are highly compensated. Highly compensated is highly compensated specific to that business or industry. So it doesn't have to be you make over $250,000, you could be in the plan. You make over 100,000, you could be in the plan. It just has to be highly compensated to that group. What happens though is that if an employer says, hey, I love deferred compensation, I want to be able to implement a plan because I can write my own rules as an employer, it can't be offered to all employees. Because what happens in that line is if a plan is offered to all employees, our friends at the IRS take a look at it and said, this really isn't a unique plan for key executives. It's actually a facade to try to get around the rules of qualified plans. And then ultimately the IRS would disallow it. So the regulations in that part are very specific. We have to fit within a certain limitation of employees and certain rules, and then we are allowed to do almost anything we want to be able to do. If an employer comes to us and says, well, I love this plan, but I want to be able to offer something a little bit more unique and distinctive to other employees, that's where we kind of go into the center area, which is the deferred bonus plan. The deferred bonus plan is essentially just that. It's simply a cash bonus that's not paid for a period of 2 to 7 years or even further at that point. But by doing so, it's no longer classified as a retirement plan. It can be allowed to all individuals. And by doing so, we're able to broaden it and create a retention plan. The other things that we run into is when we're talking with employers, a lot of employers, especially pass-through entities, S corporations, LLCs, they're looking for a deduction when they're putting a plan in place. And if an employer is saying, I want to do something special, I want to do something unique, I want to put a plan in place for my folks, then if they're looking for that deduction, the 162 bonus plan that maybe everyone on this call is familiar with, it's just really a souped up version of a LIRP, or life insurance as a retirement program, just simply using life insurance. But then going beyond, Jennifer, and continuing that part, one of the things that then people have to be very careful of when they're putting in a 162 plan is if they add a restriction on the cash value, if they add other features inside of it, making sure that the service, in this case, the IRS, doesn't see those being tied to retirement. So if you put in a restricted plan and that restriction goes to age 65, the IRS is going to say that's more than a life insurance plan, that's a retirement plan. So even the most simplistic plan, when you add an employer participating or adding to it, adds all kinds of restrictions and additional portions of the code. And that's what our goal is to help you and help everyone else with, is know the uniquenesses. Long answer. So hopefully that helps you out.
Yeah, perfect. And such a great example, even with a simple executive bonus plan or section 162, there can be things that we need to be aware of as far as taxation goes, which you just talked about, and just a great example of why it's wonderful to have you as a resource as well. Thank you for that. Can you talk about flexibility a little bit too? We talk about that a lot on the Brew as far as different plans go, but how flexible are these types of plans?
Correct. Each one of these plans is essentially designed by the company or the owner for the benefit of their key people. So when we're talking with employers or we're talking with insurance professionals or other professionals, we usually ask the question, what does your client wish to do? If your client comes back and ever says, I wish my plan could do X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z is what these plans can do. It's just listening to that general question of saying, what are your issues? My issue is I wish I could put more in. I wish I could limit it to a certain number of people. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do something different for every single employee in the group. With our traditional qualified plans and group plans, we're limited to be able to stay within the confines of how the plans are developed. That's why they're very base plans and should be established first. But when your client, in this case, is turning around and saying, I wish I could do something different, that's when we're talking about one of these three programs. I've got some things highlighted up here above that ultimately kind of provide some differentials. But again, everything we want to be able to do comes down to that wish. And just like Disney, we're all here to try to make wishes for our clients, and we're able to do that with these clients as well.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Before I open it up for questions, any parting comments or things that you would like us to take away from, you gave us a lot of information, which was terrific, but any parting comments at all before we open it up for questions?
Yeah, the real part is obviously if you've got corporate clients is to listen to their needs. And once you have that general understanding and the type of corporation, that's the big part. The rules are slightly different for C Corps, for S Corps, LLCs, profits, nonprofits. That's really where we try to help in, is trying to find out what type of corporate structure there is. And that really dictates what we can and can't do and the types of flexibility that we have. So that's the part for everyone to think about, is if you have an understanding of that, we can assist you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. So at this time, I would like to remind everyone that you can use your chat box to ask some questions, but let's do our drawing first. Dave, if you could pick a number between 1 and 28.
22.
Number 22, that's Brian Foote. Brian, congratulations. You are winner of our drawing today. Be on the lookout for a complimentary CE voucher and a Starbucks gift card that will be coming your way from all of us here at E4 Insurance Services. Congratulations. So let's take a peek at the chat, and any questions, you can also unmute your line and ask a question as well.
David, first of all, we at E4 really enjoy the relationship and being able to work with you and your firm. You've been a great resource to us and a number of our advisors. Would you talk maybe just a little bit about what are some of the more popular designs or plans that you see in the marketplace as you're working with corporations or small businesses, non-for-profits, doctor groups, hospitals, whatever that might be? What are some of the more popular designs that you're seeing transactions happen?
I'd say one of the items that's really popping up in popularity is a term, phantom stock. Phantom stock is deferred compensation. Almost everything kind of defaults back to deferred compensation, but there are a lot of medium-sized, smaller businesses that have one or two exceptional employees. But like all privately held businesses, they don't want partners. So a business owner doesn't want a partner to be able to share some of the actual ownership. So we'll put in a phantom stock program. And a phantom stock program gives that employee participation in the growth of the corporation, but not actual ownership of the corporation, to be able to keep both sides happy. The other is doing what's known as what we call 401k access, also deferred compensation, meaning that employees are limited in how much they can put in their 401k, mainly because of shortcomings within the current program. So what an employer does is we create a 401k access plan to look, act, and feel just like the normal 401k. And to the employee, it's essentially the same, but with just some slight differences. Big differences being that we can defer as much as we want. We don't have a 59 and a half age penalty. And we also have some uniquenesses of what we can do as far as funds and other investments associated with it. Outside and going into the nonprofit world, sometimes we'll deviate into split dollar and some other plan designs that kind of take us there just based on the unique rules. But everything you're seeing here in front of it are all very popular. It's just different terms and different lineations of those programs. Does that help?
Very much. Yeah, if I can follow up, when you talk about a phantom stock plan, so that key employee is really benefits from the growth of the company.
Correct.
How does life insurance tie into that?
Yep. Yeah, life insurance, I'm actually going to slide in this other, really is important because most corporations, although they love their employees, they're willing to spend good money on their key people. If we incorporate and use life insurance, we've got two things. We've got one, a sinking fund to be able to allow the corporation to put money in on a tax deferred basis. So they can put money in while it's sitting inside life insurance. That cash value growth does not incur taxation on it, which is very beneficial. The second is death benefits. The death benefits provide the funding benefit or the cost recovery, meaning that if I put in a plan for you, Dan, at the end of the day, I might provide you with, say, $1 million of benefit. If I've got a life insurance policy on you, I can recover that $1 million of expense. And at the end of the day, I might even profit from it too. So the big portion with life insurance is it's a sinking fund that gets me tax advantages. It provides me a way to recover the cost, and I actually can make a profit on the plan by giving you a benefit as well. Those are my main reasons.
Thank you, Dave. We do have another question in the chat box, and it's surrounding solutions for pass-through entities. What solution do you lean towards when working with pass-through entities?
Pass-through, every owner wants to participate just like their employees do, but the uniqueness is in the world of deferred comp, an S-corp owner or an LLC owner is essentially ineligible to defer additional compensation. And the reason is because any money they defer in the plan comes right back to the corporation and then is ultimately distributed to them at the end of the year. So what we typically do then is we typically default to the 162 bonus plan because it's already after-tax money. So to them, it's the same dollar. All we're really doing at that time period is making that after-tax dollar become more efficient through the use of life insurance, having it grow tax deferred, and having the income coming out tax-free. That is, in my opinion, probably the most efficient plan, because then they also have life insurance to be able to take care of their families. So if anything happens to the business, they now have that cash to be able to take care of them as well. There are other things we can do in certain instances, but unfortunately, it's beyond the scope of what we have today.
Excellent. Thank you for that. We do have another question here, and it's about 409A.
Okay.
When you look at the deferred comp column, it shows 409A. Can you speak to that, please?
Yes, deferred compensation used to be the Wild West of benefit planning. If you could think it, you can make it happen. Unfortunately, in the early 2000s, there was a lot of companies that really benefited their employees, their key employees over everybody else. And ultimately, we codified deferred compensation with 409A. So really what 409A does is gives us rules very similar, well, just like 401k or any of the other structures. It gives us kind of a bookmark. It legitimizes all the programs that we're putting in place. So as long as we stay within those general guidelines, they're fairly broad, but you still have to stay within that area. We're free to be able to create a plan which benefits both the employer and the employee. The part that we also want to look at, especially in this top box in that area, is ERISA. You know, that's the area that ultimately causes complications for a lot of plans, but not in the non-qualified world, not for deferred comp, not for the deferred bonus, and not for the 162. So the plans that we work with have very limited ERISA requirements, other than just simply filing the plan with the Department of Labor. And after that, all you have to do is be opening and welcoming should someone want to be able to look at your plan document, which most places don't. But that's it. You're done with the ERISA requirements and you're done with the other requirements of the plan. So I hope that helps.
Absolutely. So just looking at the chart again, it's deferred bonus and deferred comp that are subject to those 409A guidelines, right? Not executive bonus. Okay.
And I'll have to show just on the one part, that
Yeah.
one spot of just simply notifying the DOL or Department of Labor that you have a plan, that is the most commonly missed thing. And unfortunately, if you don't have that, you filed that plan and you ultimately go through an audit, an ERISA audit, a Department of Labor audit, IRS audit, and they learn that, the company is subject to fines and penalties for failure to disclose that they have a plan. The filing takes a total of 5 minutes, and then you're completely done. Unfortunately, most individuals that are not familiar with 409A or not are comfortable within the ERISA rules fail that one filing, and that can cause their client a significant amount of penalties. It's an easy thing to do, but it's easy to look at as well.
Excellent. Again, so happy to have you on to help us navigate through these regulations and rulings that we have to adhere to. I'm just going to take another peek at the chat box, and I do not see any other questions. So Dave, thank you so much for joining us today. What a great brew and great information. We really enjoyed having you on.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone, and thank you for E4 for inviting me. I look
Excellent.
forward to having conversations in the future.
Yes, absolutely. So tune in next Wednesday as E4 welcomes our very own Steve Walker, Vice President of Institutional Accounts. He will join us on the Brew to discuss irrevocable life insurance trusts, or ILITs. Steve will share with all of us what an ILIT is, how it works, and why an ILIT may be able to increase your client's legacy while decreasing taxes. So looking forward to that one. We'll see you again next Wednesday on The Brew. Thanks, everyone.